The following tutorial is brought to you by WholeLoops.com.
It's production time. I'm Reid Stefan, realest puppet in the game. Today, we've got an extra special guest who's going to be showing you how to make your drops hit harder. I'm talking about all the little secrets on making rave sounds from scratch, making your 808s more exciting, and beyond. So without further ado, introducing DJ Henry Fong.
What's up? Henry Fong here. All right, today I'm going to give you guys a little run through of my song Rave Tool. It just came out on Showtek's label Skink about a month, I think, ago. And a ton of DJs started playing it. Skrillex, Dogblood, Dylan Francis, Flosstradamus, 4B, Valentino Khan, bunch of guys. So it's got a lot of DJ support, and it's like a super high, energetic kind of song built around all these kind of old school rave sounds. So I kind of wanted to take you guys through a couple of the tricks I used in this session. All right, so the song Rave Tool sounds like this. All right. So yeah, the first kind of tip, the section I want to talk about is the bass, and the sample already sounded pretty good. I just have a little high shelf EQ on it right here and sidechain, but I'll solo you the bass so you guys can see. Again, it's in two sections. It's kind of arranged by like a call and response, so you can see the difference between the two. So here goes just the bass by itself. What really kind of brings this whole thing to life, though, is the little bends and pitches in the bass. So if I click this, you can see some of the envelopes I hand drew. Again, I just did it in Ableton straight on the audio, so that part's pitching down an octave there. Otherwise, a lot of it's straight, and then a little bit of a bend here. Instead of a traditional like up pitch bend or a down pitch bend, I have this like cool triangle. I think that's really important to, if you're kind of like sitting on your song or whatever and the bass kind of feels a little bit dead, I think you can add these little pitches and glides. Reid has a great tutorial on it. On the B section, I ended up chopping it up more. So I'll play the B section again so you can hear the chops. Doing a couple bends here and there, like on the first one, but the notes change right here, and it goes to these. It just goes to these kind of fast staccato notes. As you can tell, it is clicking. I know it's clicking. I didn't fade it because I actually like the clicking for some reason.
The clicks are disrespectful.
The clicks are disrespectful. And it kind of just gives it some sort of attack transient thing, and it just fit good in the mix, you know? Another thing was the sidechain too. I'm just using Kickstart here. I know it's a simple plugin. It's not too crazy of a plugin, but I really, really like the presets on it. And I prefer this over traditional sidechaining just so I can visualize the curves right there, and it's super fast. I have the sidechain up pretty high. It's on 83%, and that definitely gives the bass a bit of a bounce to it. You can feel it bouncing there on 83%. I love doing switch ups with bass, so you can see now on the whole drop here on the 16 bars, I have 3 different switches. I'll go ahead and play you this. It's just basically the root note, but in halftime, and that in conjunction with the moombahton drums right here. You get just a little bit of a break from that straight 4/4. If the whole track was 4/4, I think it would kind of beat your ears to death a little bit, which it already is a pretty like intense song. Yeah. So here's the moombahton part. That just gives it a little bit of a, groove, little switch up, and then it goes back into the 4/4. Now on to the next thing. I just want to talk about some of the processing I did on the lead. For this, I used a hard dance lead. It's like a kind of a hard style sound. So the first thing that I got this lead sounding the way it is, and I achieved the pattern, is by using Ableton's divide by 2 and multiply by 2 feature on the audio. All that does is it's just gonna stretch out samples and condense them half time or double time, and you can hear them all working in conjunction and just adding to the riff. So here's the fast note there, and then you can hear the really slow in there, and all that was achieved by just doubling and halving the riff. So that's kind of the first thing I do when I drag new audio samples in. I kind of just see how they sound, faster, slower, half time, double time, whatever, and it kind of gives you some options to pick from when you're just dealing with audio. It's just, I don't know, it's just a cool way that I do things.
It's an easy way to make a response for your first idea.
Yeah, and it gives you the options just sitting right in front of you. You know, if you just do it and just let it sit there, you can just rearrange it real quick.
And especially with Complex and Complex Pro, it's so easy to make something that sounds totally different just by adjusting those settings.
Yeah, so like what Reid said right here, I have these on Complex Pro, and on the first section, the high octave, the A section, that's I actually put it on Complex Pro, but I adjusted the formants. Like, I didn't like how it sounded with. That wasn't that much of a difference, but now check this out. When I go over here, I have a totally different setting when I dropped it an octave. So when I dropped it an octave, I had to change the formants and envelope because I pitched it down, and it sounded better, and it preserved a little bit more of the highs when I on this format setting. So I had to play with it a little bit. It's going to lose some quality, so play around. It's
going to gain some swag, though.
Yeah, it's going to gain some swag. So you can see the in the low octave here. It's definitely struggling a little bit because I had pitched it down so much, but by me playing with the formants on that, I was able to get the best sound I could. So yeah, also on the lead, obviously is some processing. So I actually use my own processing rack right here. It's called Fong's Rave Sauce.
Available now at wholeloops.com.
It's available at Whole Loops. I noticed that when I was producing, that I was using these like super long processing chains especially for like kind of dry sounds, and it was just getting out of control. You know, you have like saturators, EQs, reverbs, OTT, sidechain, compressors, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and it kind of just it gets really hard to work with. So I wanted to make something, and then I talked to Reid about it, and me and him kind of came to the idea like, yo, what if we take this rack and
simplify it?
Yeah, simplify it, and then, you know. Do your drops sound like floppy trash? Are you struggling with those long, complicated plug-in chains? Hi, I'm Henry Fong. Introducing Fong's Rave Sauce, the all-in-one Ableton audio effect rack to take your sounds from plain to plur in an instant. Available now only at wholeloops.com. I'll put a serum here for you guys, just initial preset, and then I'm just gonna put the Rave Sauce rack on it, just plain, so you guys can hear it.
Sauce it up.
All right, that is like a straight up saw wave. And then I'll put the Rave Sauce rack on it. I'll put a little more reverb, a little more brightness, and then you can hear it sounds.
Hey. Take it straight to the rave.
So that is literally just like hardly tweaking anything, straight saw wave, and it already sounds super fat. So check it out without it. With it. Big difference here. So I would say this is going to work better for unprocessed sounds. Like, you know, whether it could be instruments, it can be vocal
We
chops.
tried this on vocal chops, and it turned things into crazy sounding leads. We tried this on flutes, and it made some crazy sounding leads. Definitely flute samples with the Rave Sauce on it was insane. So it's not really about dropping it on rave sounds, even though you actually did drop it on a rave sound in this song and added even more Rave Sauce to it. But what it's really designed for is a shortcut to taking it from plain to freaking plur.
Next thing I want to talk about is kind of some of the mixing things I did on this and how I got it to hit hard. If I take the master off and you listen to the track, the kick is like popping super, super loud on this. And it was definitely not mixed correctly because I started making the track with the mastering on, which is something that I like to do, and that's just how I work. Keeps me inspired. But sometimes your leveling gets off when you come to the end. But on this song, it actually worked to my advantage because the kick was super loud and the kick was kind of popping, but when you put the limiter, it starts going through the limiter in the ozone. It kind of squashes it down and it makes it distorted, and it just gives, I don't know, the whole song got its edge because everything is kind of, the kick especially is coming through super smash. So I'm kind of using like limiting and the master chain as sort of like an effect for the whole song on purpose. Also, I did some automation here on the master channel. So I start out with the endless smile. Reid has a tutorial on that, but I do like to put the endless smile on the master, and you can see where I automated it. And these like small automations right before this drop hits right here definitely makes the drop pop a little harder, gives it some tension. I have it going up a little bit here, so it's just kind of just washing everything out, filtering things out, and then along with the endless smile, as you can see here, I have the EQ automated. This is a really big thing that I like to do on every track. I guess it's kind of a trick, maybe not, but I like to high cut my tracks around 18,000 or sometimes lower depending on the track. Just sometimes you don't need those super high frequencies, and if your mixes are kind of sounding a little bit kind of fuzzy, a little bit too high, you can high cut the whole master, and you can kind of that point can change from track to track. But on this track, I think it's around 18,000, and I actually automated that to come down. So if you look at the build up here, I have where the normal thing is, and then I have it slowly cutting out the highs throughout the entire build up, all the way to the point till before the drop. Everything from basically 12,500 hertz is just cut. So it's kind of, it's not to the point where it's losing the quality, but it's to the point where enough highs are cut out that when the drop comes back in, there's, you know, a 5,000 hertz difference in between, and it just really makes the drop shine a little bit better. Obviously, people do gain staging and stuff for drops, for any track, but for drops especially, you know, you'd pull down the volume and then you'd have the drop hit a little higher volume. So it's kind of the same concept, just with the frequencies. So on this, I do have a bit of gain staging here on the utility. What is this? Yeah, so the buildup is going down a little over a dB, and then it hits, and then just the drop hits a little bit louder. So by using, you know, some of these things, automating on the master, you're able to get that extra, just that extra impact when the drop hits.
Sick. Well, my favorite was definitely Fong's rave sauce. I don't know about you, but there you have it. Henry Fong showing you his secrets for processing your rave sounds, your 808s, and making straight up bangers straight from the source. Henry, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your sauce with us.
Right on, dude.
If you want to check out,
thanks for having me.
If you want to check out Fong's rave sauce on wholeloops.com, I'll put a link to that in the description, and catch you guys next time with another tutorial.
Rave Tool. Rave Tool's out now. Go cop it.
Rave Tool out now. Rave sauce out now.
Rave Tool that has the rave sauce.
Hey.